Welcome to the Friday morning stand up for independent consulting business owners. I'm Melissa Lieberman, and today we're talking about greed, consulting greed. And what I've found is this consulting greed is running rampant in our businesses. And I'll tell you what it means here in a minute, but it's one of the causes of you under earning as an independent consulting business owner. And I want to make sure you're aware of this because most consultants aren't. And this creates an underlying effect where you end up undercharging, and that compounds itself year over year, quarter over quarter as you're running your business. So I want to really make you aware of this problem that I've been finding with almost every independent consulting business owner that I work with, and help you to see where it might be impacting you in your business and the amount of money you're able to make as a result of it. So with that, let's dive into today's topic. I'm going to share with you this concept of consulting greed and how it shows up or could be showing up in your business by giving you an example. And then at the end, I'll tell you what to do about it. So here's the scenario, and you might relate to this. I hear this from almost every client I work with in some form or fashion. And so I'll just give you a really specific example that came from a client the other day. We were talking about his existing client, and that existing client wanted to extend him. I think the word was lock him in for the next 9 to 12 months. The work he's been doing is very valuable, and they wanted to make sure that he was expecting to continue with them and wanted to continue with them. And so those conversations started. And so as we're working together, he and I, coaching on this particular topic, he was just kind of reporting the news to me. Melissa, great news. I have this client. They want to extend, just kind of updating me on his business over that, whatever had happened in the last week. And so then I started asking him some questions about, well, what is that structure going to look like for the contract extension? What kind of terms will it include? What are you recommending in terms of a price increase, a fee increase? And started diving into the details of this. And then the conversation started with, him telling me all the reasons why the current structure is great, how it's market standard, how, he's just really happy to have line of sight into his revenue for the next 9 to 12 months. And really, it doesn't make sense to rock the boat. I'm making really good, amount of money from this client. And I'm so happy to have the clarity and the knowledge about what I'm going to be making for the next 9 to 12 months. And so I just don't want to rock the boat. And it gave me a lot of really good logical reasons, right? And you're so smart. You're a consultant. I know that you probably have and can create a lot of these logical reasons for yourself when you're thinking about creating your initial pricing or creating a follow-on pricing and that kind of extension pricing. All of us are smart enough as consultants to be able to logic our way to justify whatever it is that we want to be doing. But here's where the greed came in. As we were peeling back the layers and I was challenging his thinking, that's my job as a coach, to challenge your thinking. As I'm challenging his thinking, we start peeling back the layers and we realize what he was thinking. And I can tell you this is a very specific client example. I'm not sharing any personal details, but almost every client says something to this effect in some way or another, which is as we start taking away these logical reasons, right? This is the market standard. We poked holes in that. They won't pay more. We poked holes in that. We were poking holes in all of the logical reasons. And when we took all of that kind of facade away, what we found is this underlying belief that if he asked for more, he was being greedy. If I ask the client for more money, I'm being greedy. I should be grateful. I should be thankful for what I have. You probably have thought the same thing too. In fact, Most of us learned it when we were like 4 years old, right? I can remember even just back to my parents' station, this brown station wagon in the 70s, my mom saying, don't be greedy, be grateful for what you have. It's indoctrinated into us as though if we have more, someone else has less. And so as we were talking through, I shouldn't be greedy. I should be thankful for what I have. This belief system that has been ingrained in my client and in most of us since childhood, we started realizing that's what's running his business. These kind of thought processes from age 4. And so then that becomes so powerful to know, right? Because then we can start questioning whether we want that belief system to be running our business. Do you want a belief system that your mom in her, brown station wagon or whatever your equivalent of it is, told you when you were 4 years old? Don't be greedy. You should be thankful for what you have. Maybe not. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but just know that that's what's probably running your business, are all of these belief systems that are just unquestioned. This is the way the world works. To be a good person, you shouldn't want more. You shouldn't be too greedy, which then keeps you earning about the same amount of money year over year and creates a dynamic where you're under earning, where you're not thinking in a different way. And so that's where it bridges us to the solution here. The solution to this challenge isn't to say, well, I shouldn't be greedy. I'm otherwise I'll be a bad person. It's to question whether or not you want that 4-year-old version of running your business. And to figure out, if you take that rule away, what might you be doing instead? I'm not saying you should just raise your rates indiscriminately, but what I am saying is that you should really consider the reason behind not raising your rates, and if it's one of these sort of belief systems that has nothing to do with you running your business, has everything to do with the way that our society is set up, and these belief systems we're all indoctrinated with, right? And so if we took that rule away, I shouldn't be greedy, I should be thankful for what I have. If we take that rule away, we acknowledge it and we just say, okay, let's set that aside for a moment and think about what makes sense here from a business perspective. So that's what the client and I did. We started talking about, okay, let's just take you out of the equation. If you were not selling yourself, which is a whole different topic because you're not really selling yourself, but we'll save that for next week, actually. If you were just offering this extension on behalf of an employer, what would you be doing right now? His answer was almost immediate. Oh yeah, I've done that before. I've done that a lot of times where I'm creating a follow-on statement of work or an extension statement of work. And every time I would increase the pricing, increase the amount that I was charging the client. Because by then I knew more about that client. I was able to really hit the ground running. The value I was delivering for that client was faster and more impactful because I built all those relationships with the client. And the amount of work that I was able to produce was faster. So then when we take away this lens of you shouldn't be greedy, all of it kind of enables these other thought processes to sort of rush through, right? What would you be doing if you were not in the equation? You weren't selling yourself and you were working on behalf of an employer. It lifts this whole kind of judgment layer off and helps you to think about your business and your proposals and your pricing in a much different way. At the end of the day, you can choose whether or not you want to raise your prices when like in this example, when you've got follow-on work, but do it from that place of reason and business case development and thinking about the value for your client versus just shutting yourself down automatically because of the subconscious belief that you shouldn't be greedy and you should be thankful for what you have. I can tell you time and time and time again that subconscious, some form of that subconscious belief is running so many independent consulting businesses without you even realizing it. And so that's why it's so important today. I'm on a passionate plea here for you to not allow these thoughts about you being greedy to just shut down your business decisioning and justify the status quo and block you from thinking about the way you're pricing your work in a business owner's mindset. So that's what I have for you today. The solution to this is number one, this consulting greed. Literally, there's no greed. It's pricing. It's pricing. Your client gets to say yes or no to it. You get to decide what the pricing is. They get to decide if the value they believe you'll deliver is commensurate with that pricing. It's as simple as that. So you get to decide, number one, where you get to, the two steps here are figure out where greed could be limiting you. Figure out where your thoughts about greed could be holding you back from even considering what the price should be for the work that you're doing and the proposal you're making. Number one, just be really honest with yourself. Nothing has gone wrong. All of us are operating off of subconscious belief systems. We just got to bring them to the light. And then number two, from there, figure out, take yourself out of the equation. Ask yourself the types of questions that I just shared with you. What would I be doing if I was selling this work on behalf of my former employer or an employer? Look at it from that lens. How is the client getting more value if they're paying me more? How could this benefit the client? A lot of times it benefits the client. The more they pay, the more they engage, the more results they get. Think about it from that perspective and then decide what you want to do about your pricing. Right? That's what I have for you today. A couple of things that I want to point out. Episode 459 of the podcast, Grow Your Independent Consulting Business, is all about this consulting greed. I share with you a couple of other examples and dive more into the formula of how to address this consulting greed that could be underlyingly, is that a word? Underlyingly sabotaging your business without you realizing it. I don't think that's a word, but I just made it up. So go to episode 59, which is at melissaliberman.com/podcast. And then also don't forget, if you haven't taken it yet, go take the IAC Business Growth Assessment. So it's a 26 question assessment. It will help you to figure out where in your business is your biggest area of opportunity to address in order to continue growing your consulting business without working more. So that's at ic-scorecard.com. So thanks for tuning in today on the Friday morning independent consulting business owner stand up. This is the time for you to really take a moment, focus on your business. I know it's so hard to get out of the weeds of delivering for your business, and I want to make sure that you spend some time every week looking at your business and working on your business. And that's why I do this weekly LinkedIn Live. And YouTube Live. So thank you for joining, and I will talk with you again next week. Take care.